All right. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Let's just do this disclosure first. I hope you guys can see that screen of mine okay. I'm an associate member of T3 Trading Group, which is an SEC registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA/SIPC. All of my trades are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial condition. There's the position disclosure. All right. I'm in the office here, so hopefully the technology is good. I got to do this class in 20 minutes. So Pat was going to be doing the afternoon meeting today, but he had something come up. You guys can hear me, right? Just want to confirm because no one has said anything since the start of this meeting. Cool. Yeah, so Pat's supposed to do the meeting today, but he had something come up. So I'm just going to do just a real abbreviated meeting here. Probably no Q&A portion today. We'll resume our kind of normal operations tomorrow. So just a real quick one to update on the market and how things went based on our pre-market expectations. So how did we open up today? What was today in the morning meeting? It was set to be a flat open, right? I remember doing the morning meeting and the SPYs were pretty much at the exact unchanged mark, and look at where we are right now, down 0.07%. In a lot of ways, that really sums up today's trading session, right? We opened up flat, we closed flat, nothing really to talk about. Qs here, exact same thing. Pretty much opened up flat, closed flat. The only one that's a bit of an outlier here is this IWM closing down a percentage point, and that's certainly disappointing because in yesterday's afternoon meeting, we were actually pointing to the IWM as kind of our silver lining here for the market after yesterday's really big breakdown day. Yesterday, real bull failure type trading session, but the IWM kind of held in, and then the IWM played catch up today. And I think that if you just look at the SPYs and the Qs, it doesn't really show you the underlying damage that actually happened in the market today. The IWM does. Your SPYs and Qs are pretty much flat. I haven't seen the breadth numbers, but I would imagine that the breadth numbers today are horrible. There are not really that many green stocks out there that you can find. Maybe some of the consumer staple names, Campbell's Soup, General Mills, were able to hold up and kind of be strong. But otherwise, market today was certainly not very good. The big thing that we were talking about was if the market can still hold support. So 380 for the SPYs was kind of a key level. The Qs lost their key level yesterday. The Qs let us down. That was like 285. And for the IWM, 170. So today we had some back and forth price action through SPY 380 and through IWM 170. And then the only thing I was saying was, can we actually close above? And we did. We did close above. So the IWM did manage to close above 170. The SPYs did manage to close above 380 by a very little bit. And Qs, which were relatively strong today, at one point I thought maybe they could actually recapture that 285 that they lost yesterday, but they ended up not being able to do that. So at the end of today's trading session, we don't really have too much of a change to talk about. Again, broadly, obviously here on the intraday, very slow, boring, choppy day, and it doesn't really change our big picture technicals too much, with the exception of the weakening of the IWM. But we're still above 170, we're still above 380. We'll see if those levels can continue to hold. Tomorrow's the last day of the month, the last day of the quarter. Certainly the thought process of seeing any sort of rebalancing flows doesn't look good. Usually they front run that. They usually don't wait till the very last day for it, and it doesn't look like we're seeing it. So overall here, market is looking much less bullish than it was just yesterday morning, but we're not totally broken yet, and there still is the possible chance, and I mentioned this in the morning meeting today, there still is the possible chance that we get some sort of higher low here instead of yesterday's high just being the next lower high in the market where we work our way all the way down to new lows. There is still a chance Then we build out a pattern of lower highs but higher lows, which is the definition of what a wedge is. And we build out that wedge, and then that wedge could break. It technically would be bearish, but there is always the probability that that bearish wedge breaks to the upside, and then that's actually the potential formation of like a reversal type pattern. So that's really it with the market. And then as far as trading today, what did we say in the game plan? We said preserve capital. We said we don't have an advantage. No advantage at all when looking at this market. And on top of that, we had no gap. So there was really no advantage at all. Notably, right away, we had our weakness in the IWM. IWM just got trashed. So that was a signal here that any rallies would not be sustained. And AMD also has really been a leading stock, and it was very weak very early on. The one thing I think that we did a really good job as a team today was we decided to be patient. We decided to wait and look to see where we could find some relative strength. And it was pretty quick, starting with Amazon. One of you guys here on the team mentioned this Amazon relative strength from the first 5-minute bar of the day. It was really a good job noting that. Because we did have good long trades today. First the call out was an Amazon, and then I was calling out Apple on the break of this like fourth 5-minute bar to the upside when it broke 138 as a long, and Microsoft when it broke 285 here. These like first 3-minute bars when it broke that to the upside as a long. So we very quickly we were able to see the relative strength in FANG, and honestly, the indices themselves would probably be down a good bit if it wasn't for the strength that came out of FANG. I mean, these stocks are such big market caps. Apple's up 1.2% today. Microsoft's up 1.3% today. Amazon's up 1.2% today. Google weaker. Google down a little bit along with the market. But the fact that these FANG names were able to be as strong as they were and the market was still so garbage, again, really kind of shows you the underlying weakness, which to me is a very big concern. But from a trading perspective, we know relative strength and relative weakness is one of our really important layers of probability. We recognize the relative strength in these FANG stocks as they went green first. We called out trades to the long side in Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. And honestly, on such a garbage trading session, it was the best that was out there. And I think that's just a fantastic job that even on a day like today, we could, find the kind of diamonds in the rough and communicate the trading on them really well too. As far as book and profit on the upside and not expecting too much. When this Apple got to 140 here for the first time, I sold some right in front of 140. I communicated that I thought that 140 was going to act as a little bit of a trouble area, and then you could see here that this 140 really was a trouble area for the entire day. So certainly not great looking price action for the market. Let's see how we gap tomorrow. Let's see, what the price action looks like as we go into the last day of the month and the last day of the quarter. And I think we're just kind of in wait and see mode here right now as we still manage to hold support. But I'd be lying if I said things look good. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I see TH here mentioning XBI still being green. XBI, good relative strength here for biotech. It pivoted on the daily chart exactly where we needed to. So I think that this is one to keep an eye on for tomorrow, possibly versus like today's low type of situation. So that this still looks solid to me. There's a few names that still look solid to me, but we always want our broader market participation to help us out. So that's all I got. Like I said, I don't really want to do questions today because I got to jump into this class here, but I see DJ had a question, so I do have a couple minutes, so we'll try to answer it. So you shorted Dow through the low of the 1030 candle. 1030. So this snapback, so we snap back here, and then you shorted the low of that candle. So I assume that means that you're kind of executing on this 1045 AM bar with a stop at 5209. I hope that's the high of this bar. 5205. Interesting. Is this 5208? Okay. If you shorted through the low of this, I don't dislike your stop. You also could have used the pivot high here as your stop loss, because you're expecting that this is going to be the pivot high that leads to downward trend continuation on a relatively weak stock. So this is all really good looking stuff that I'm hearing from your question here so far. I never moved my stop because I didn't have any pivots after the 10:30 candle. But in hindsight, I could have used the high of 11:15. I think you could have used the high of this like 11:05 candle with this little upside tail that comes into the ADMA after new lows came in. So I think you could have used that. You're looking at the 11:15 candle, and I don't hate that either. So I think you could have used the 11:05 candle. I think you could have used the 11:15 candle. That's assuming that you want to trail very tight. That's a very tight trail, so you're probably going to be getting stopped out of it. But if you don't believe in the market to the short side, or you want to keep it tight, you want to lock the money in, I'm fine with all that. You could also use multiple stops on multiple time frames. Be a little bit greedier with some of your game plan. Be a little bit less greedy with some of your game plan. I'd be fine with all that. This all looks like good execution to me and good trailing. So good stuff here, DJ. The 11:30 candle seems like a little bit more of a standard pivot. It does, but it doesn't lead to a new low. Had there been perfect, exactly. Had there been new lows after it. Perfect. No, DJ, your thought process here is perfect. And for the people who are going to be taking my class in 9 minutes, this is actually some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about. So maybe I can even utilize this as an example. This Dow. Cool. No, I think you did the right thing here, DJ. You're following the 3 trailing rules. You're maximizing your profit. You chose to trail it tight, which is fine. Just recognize that. When you're trailing that tight, you're almost always going to get stopped out at some point throughout the day. And if you really think this is a bad bear market and this is a bad bear stock, that maybe you want to keep some a little bit looser on like a 15-minute chart, something like that. But otherwise, this looks perfect. All right, gang, I'm going to end it. Just a real quick afternoon meeting here today because, like I said, I got to jump and Pat got held up with something. So, and there wasn't too much to talk about anyway, right? I hope everybody had good risk management today, good money management. I hope everybody implemented one of our key trading principles for success, which is knowing when to be patient. That was it. We discussed in the morning meeting. Unfortunately, not every single trading session gives us, is just throwing gold nuggets at us. And today, if you were patient, if you waited for that relative strength to confirm itself in those FANG names, if you executed Apple and Microsoft when we discussed, you could have still made a few, decent dollars for yourself. But if you tried to force price action that wasn't there, you certainly could have hurt yourself. So hope everyone did a good job, and I will see everybody tomorrow. Have a great